So this will be part 4 in our series in getting to the Vermilius Gap and getting out of the South Hagga Basin into the next area of the game. I do appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this little series has been helpful. When I continue in the future, I will continue probably later on in another save game after part 4. Okay, guys, and we are back at our base in Hagga Basin South, and we're getting ready to go ahead and complete the rest of our quests and get ourselves up to the Vermilius Gap. So, unfortunately, when I recorded the game itself, I did not get my voice audio, so this is a voiceover of the actual video. And right here, we're making a drinker knife that we found as a unique schematic in one of the areas that we raided. There are unique schematics spread throughout the map that you can pick up and you can learn how to make, and then you can get more powerful gear a little bit ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to get geared up, we're going to go ahead and make the knife, and then we're going to head out to the Imperial testing facility and run through that, getting all of the loot that we need to get in that location. All right, so we're also going to go ahead and store the other knife, and we are going to go to our blood storage and make sure that we've offloaded all the blood that we have and filled up the purifier. And so now we're going to head out and go over to the Imperial testing facility, which this is the reason why we built our base right close, so we can hit this very easily. So it's just right over from where we're at. We'll get to the entrance, and then we'll explain more when we get there. So there's usually no enemies outside. What we want to do is we want to go into the entrance, and down the steps there are various corpses there lined up that are set by default there. They were not just killed recently. But as we get down here, we'll get swarmed by a few enemies. They're not too difficult, but I do want to caution you not to get surrounded by them at this point in the game. So you want to kind of stay in front of them if you can. Alright, so as we go down, we'll just keep on gathering loot. You want to make sure you pick up that key or band so that you can get through the door, which that one happens to be right in front of you on the right hand side. There's nothing else in this area. Alright, so as we go on in, you want to start looking for chests, although not a lot of really great stuff right here. There's some places to interact. There's nothing up there as far as chests go. We'll go ahead and keep going through this room here. There's nothing here. Much, if there's anything. So as we get further in, there are water stations where you can top off your water, which is important in here, so you don't dehydrate and lose stamina. Now, as we come up to the next section, on the left-hand side, we want to jump into the foliage.
Welcome to Desert Botanical Testing Station number 2.
On the left here, and we want to get a chest from the back corner.
or engineer, botanical
Alright,
species
so we're going to
capable of thriving
continue
in the extremely
on
arid
down because we
conditions
cannot
of
get in that other door.
a true challenge, as I'm sure any visitor
Looting the
who
bodies
travels
as we
the barren
go.
rocks and sand.
Encounter our first enemies here. I backed up a little bit because they were starting to overpower me somewhat there. If we can funnel them and take them down one at a time, that's easier. Go ahead and collect the blood. All right, make sure we top off our water once again, because you can go up above the 1/3 mark. Not really much loot in there. As we go a little bit further, there's some more enemies. Now, there may be, like I said, some little hidden chests that I don't know about. For the most part, I think I got all of them. There's one right there that we need to get. Some more water. Some ammo and some med kits. More blood to gather. Alright, now as we head in, there's a spiral staircase here. We're going to go around the upstairs first. There are a couple of enemies over here. Want to collect all the loot that we can find. There's a room back here in the back. Once we take these guys out, we'll head into this room. This is the first major area where you can get loot. Alright, so now we'll go around and collect all the items, and we'll head down the steps. That's an important chest right there to get the thing that you need to turn in. One of the things we need. There's several things we're turning in from down here. Because we've literally accepted we have a journey to get down here through the main storyline, and then we also have the planetologist basics. I want to make sure I went ahead and tracked that particular mission so that we did not miss the mnemonic film that we need. Alright, so I didn't get the blood there. There's a guy here attacking, so... Alright, and I believe we are going to head down the stairs. So now you go down the spiral. You're going to encounter some more. I usually go down the steps and go around the outside. Counterclockwise. You can do whatever you want, but I always go this way. Because there are some chests to get here. A few things. Okay, so now there's a hallway here that we want to go down. Once we come around counterclockwise, you'll see it. There's a body laying there with a light next to it, and we want to run down here. There is a chest in the corner right there with some med kits. Now you see the stairs right there to the left. We want to make sure we go down the steps first. There's a chest down here, and then there's also a key down here that we're going to need in order to open up a door. Okay, so we want to come in here and get the purple key. Oh, we've got more enemies. We're going to have to take them out real quick. Okay, now we're going to come back to that section right there with the yellow light on it. The little square yellow light on the wall. We'll be back to that in a minute. We're going to have to fight a boss here real quick. There he is, so you want to jump on him right away. And then you want to gather what's in that chest, which is another one of your mission pieces. Go around. There's a room right there that we want to go in. There's another key there that we need. There's a bigger loot chest in the back. We got a good schematic there. And back out. Now, after you come out of here, you don't want to go out that door yet. You want to go back down the hallway. And you want to open the bookcase down here on the left. Incidentally, you can loot those hanging bodies and get ammo and medkits and stuff. We want to go up to that bookcase right there. I guess I was looking for more enemies. And go ahead and click on it, and we're going to open a secret door. Now, sometimes you will run into an NPC when you come back out. So in here, there's another one of those chests that we need in order to get the mnemonic film for the planetologist. You have to come in here for that. There's another NPC we'll get rid of. And there's a large chest back there in the back as well that we need to get. Okay, so we got everything out of this room. We're going to top off our water. And now this time we're going to head out. We're going to go back to that door that was open after I reopen the door and there's an enemy standing here. Two of them, matter of fact. I did not expect that. Oh, and the door shut on me again. So back down where we just came from, gather the stuff out of these chests. So there's several large chests in here where you're getting a bunch of loot. You're getting all the parts you need for your first bike. Okay, so we're back in this round room here again, and we want to go through the gate with the purple around it, and we want to go up the steps. Back through this area where we came through earlier. Just follow it straight back out past this room here with the table with the bloodstain on it. Or, well, before you go up, we want to go down to that room right there, and we want to gather what's in here. Some of the extra items that we need are in here for bike building. And now out the door and up the steps. We want to take the gold exit and go on all the way up, and then we're out of here. And now that we're back at the base, we'll go ahead and unlock the things that we need to unlock and research. Which is going to be the big one, the bike. Mark 1 assembly. So we're going to go ahead and fabricate the different things that we need for it. We're going to need to make sure we have enough copper, and we should have all the parts we need from the raid down in the Imperial testing facility. Also, we do want to go back up, and we do want to make sure that we turn in the quest item to the planetologist as well. Make sure here that you do craft the welding tool as well, and also the vehicle backup tool is going to be something very important to unlock in order to store your vehicle in your inventory. You can also add a back seat for a second person, and if you have storage that is filled, you cannot carry your bike with you, but if you have empty storage, you can literally put it on your hotbar and carry it wherever you're at. So we'll get finished making all the parts, get it assembled, and go from there. Now we want to go ahead and equip the welding tool, making sure we have all the stuff that we need for the bike in our inventory, and we want to go ahead and make sure we're on assemble mode. And then go ahead and put down the first thing first. Just click the yellow areas to install the different parts. And attaching the last tread, we now have a bike. Now, if you go up to it and you left click, then you can see the number of options that you can do to it, including refueling and storage. Now, in order to make fuel, you're going to need the individual little square fuel cells that we've been picking up, and you also need a small chemical refinery. So we're going to go ahead and research that. In order to craft it, we're going to have to go get some copper. And we're going to go ahead and process the copper. We're also going to craft the vehicle backup tool so that we can store the bike in our inventory. Then we'll be ready to put down the small chemical refinery. Okay, we now have enough copper to craft
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm.
The refinery. So now we're going to go ahead and get some fuel cells, and we're going to make a small vehicle cell out of the ones that we gathered. I think that's all I'm going to use right here. Go ahead and craft one, and then we'll be able to refuel our bike, and we'll be able to make some progress. Now, I did put the vehicle backup tool here in my inventory. Basically, that goes on your hotbar. Now, I do have some items that are partially depleted. There are some things I want to keep with me that I need to turn in at the Griffin Trade Post before we leave this area too, in the way of contracts that we're going to pick up right at the very end. So here I'm making some additional parts that we need to turn in for the quest I was talking about, the extra quest at the end. It's a scavenger finding quest. We actually need 2 treads. We need 3 of those micro films or insulated films there. And we need a couple of those EMF generators. Okay, so we're going to take those with us so that we can complete that contract at the research post. We have a water cistern there, and also there's the leader John. We're going to go ahead and research the leader, John. That's the schematic that we bought in the past. And this is going to allow us to store water and take it with us. So you also have a recycler here, which we can take and break down things that we don't need. By breaking down the things that we don't need, we're going to be able to save inventory space and more compactly move all of our stuff when the time comes in a few minutes. I did just highlight the water cistern, which we could make in this area, but I don't necessarily recommend it. I don't really think you need it when you're in the starter area. So we're going to go ahead and collect the items that we made and craft the leader John after we go get some more copper. Now that we have enough copper, let's go ahead and craft the leader John. Let's go ahead and fill the leader John with water from our blood purifier. Deposit what blood that we do have. We do have some excess. At this point, we're ready to head out, and we'll be getting things done from here. So we're going to go ahead and highlight the vehicle backup tool, point and shoot. And out pops the
That's it.
bike.
You're ready. I'm waiting at Mirzabah. That's the great rock formation that looks like a giant hammer. Be careful. Vehicles are fast, but nothing can outrun Shai Hulud. You can only hope to get between safe areas more quickly. I'll see you soon.
All right, so it does say that we're ready to move to the Vermilion Gap, but we do have a few items to finish here before we go ahead and do that. Although I suppose one could do it right now, and you'd be on the main quest, but you'd be leaving some things behind. Okay, so we're going to drive around until we see the tower, and then we're going to head straight up to the trade post. Now, even though we're on a bike, we still need to be conscious of the worm. And you can get shot while you're on the bike and deplete your health. So there's the Griffin trade post. As we approach the trade post, we can park in that area to our left right there, that little garage, and our bike is safe from sandstorms, and we are safe from sandstorms in there. So we're going to go up, and we're going to finish up what we have to do up here, which the first thing we need to do is talk to the trooper recruiter real quick.
Back again.
We'll skip through the cutscenes on
The
this.
Sowat. It's over then. Oh, they took me to a bar. Killing them. I'd swear you're a fully trained trooper pulling one over on.
Okay, at this point is where we get the skill tree unlocked for the trooper, and we want to click on it there. It looks like the little armor guy, and the sugar wire claw is really the first thing that we're after, although we can only equip 2 out of the 3 abilities available to us. We'll have all 3 once we complete enough trials in order to get 3 of them. But we've got the Compel and the Bendu Sprint for now. The Sugar Wire Claw will help us. It's like a grapple to be able to grab onto rocks and climb up or walls and things like that. It's very useful. Very awesome. We're going to go ahead and add some more health points here to the Gesserit. And also we want to get a little bit of stuff here. Some of the skills are passive and some of them are abilities that have to be equipped in order to use. So you want to read through them and find out what they're all about. I'm not going to go over skills necessarily in this set of videos. But the Bene Gesserit does have a lot of really good health buffs at the beginning here. And also the knife-wielding attributes as well. Some being passive, some being equipable. But it's good to get all the health unlocks that you can in the Bene Gesserit and the knife unlocks at the beginning, in my opinion. Now, at this point, I realized we had not completed the planetologist quest. So we're going to go back, get in the bike, and do that at this time. Remember, it's right above the Imperial testing facility. So I'm going to get the bike, and I'll be back over there in just a second. Oh yeah, one thing you can do if you want to demonstrate the passive suspender belt is you can now jump off large cliffs and not take damage as long as you have some durability left in it, which I'll demonstrate here. So it does save a lot of time, that's for sure. Especially the sugar wire claw. When combined with this, you can get up and down cliff faces fairly easily. And once we cross over, we will go up the path that leads to the planetologist, right past this large wreck. I should have done this first. We went right past it, but we didn't. But I'm showing you this so you don't have to forget. Now, once we turn in this quest, this is the last thing we can do at this time. Although at a later time, you can get the advanced planetologist research and unlock a lot of really great features as far as mining and fuel efficiencies. But we can't do that now, though. So this is the only thing we can turn in at this time to this guy. But eventually, we'll be able to get some more stuff as we progress in the game.
You've come back. You don't know how rare that is on Arrakis. Have you done as I asked? You have? That's wonderful. Say what you will. Yes, of course. I haven't forgotten. Pay attention. Life. Oh, there. Though I must confess, I wasn't expecting.
Okay, at this point, we're going to look at the skills of the planetologist, which is the planet icon, and we want to get the 10% yield buff under scientist. The other scientist options there are really great once we get the ability to research further into the quest or the tech tree for the planetologist. Now, at this point, I realized that we had one more contract to do where we had to track it, first of all, which I didn't do. And we're going to have to go back to the wreck site, and we're going to have to get a Holtzman amplifier. So here I'm highlighting the quest that we have for it right there. And it's under the scrap metal contract. It's the first one, which I should have went back and done before we did this. But we're going to go back and do it at this time. Again, now that we have the ability to jump off a cliff and not take damage, we're going to go ahead and utilize that. Let's pick up our bike and go off the edge. Right, so over the edge we go, which is basically right at our base. For the most part. All right, so we will find the wreck site, crash ship on the map, and head back over there. And then we're going to go in the side of it, and we're only going to pick up what we need. We're not going to take time to loot the entire thing. So I'm going to go back in the base real quick and do a couple things. Then we'll meet you there. All right, here at the crash site, we're going to go to the side of it. We're on the back part of it right now. We'll go over to the side. There's the entrance here on the side. We're going to run in, run down the steps, and loot the chest where the Holtzman amplifier is located. So the entrance is right there. I don't even think we're going to run into any enemies here, if we can avoid it. Now, it'd probably be, if I was taking more time, I would probably loot the whole thing over again. You want to go down the steps and into the, I guess this is the cockpit area. And we want to go to that yellow, or that, well, we want to loot all the chests that are in here. That chest right there with the yellow gold is what we need to get the amplifier from. All right, so we've got everything we need. We're going to head back up, and then we're going to go over to the trade post once more and complete this contract so that we can get just a little bit further before we head to the next area. All right, now we're back at the trade post. We're going to go in, go to the contract board. I'm going to turn in that Holtzman amplifier. And complete the wrecking crew portion that we need to get done first. Scrap metal, wrecking crew. We'll turn in the amplifier, and then they're going to give us some other things that they want us to get. And we have brought those with us. It's going to be the micro sandwich bags. We need 3 of them. Bags. The EMP generators. And some treads. There's going to be for the bike building part. Scrap metal testing limits. We're going to deliver the poison snooper, which was which is what they're asking for there. We picked that up when we went the first time. So you're picking up several things at the wreckage site. Okay, now bike building. We're going to turn in an engine, which I got in the Imperial testing. I also got a broken tread. We need 2 treads to turn in. I thought it was 3. And then that should be it. Okay, now you can go ahead and accept all the rest of these contracts, and we'll go ahead and do that. And then we're going to go back one more time to our base. So I'm going to meet you back at the base. Okay, back at the base approaching here. We're going to get ourselves ready to get packed up and head to the northern edge of the rock where the Griffin trade post is and head over to the new area. So at this point, what we want to do is look at starting to get everything packed up. So we're going to load up our bike and our inventory. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a recycler so I can break down all those components that we don't need, such as there's a couple things in my inventory there and my old armor that I put in that chest earlier. We're going to break all that down as well. So we do need to build it. For that, I'm going to need more copper. All right, so now with the copper gathered, that's processing, we're going to start organizing, removing the stuff that we want to take with us, and recycling the stuff that we don't want to take, that we want to take in the form of parts. So here we are emptying out our storage. Now you could leave this all here, but when we get up to the next area, we're going to be asked to abandon this. So we want to go ahead and carry it all with us. Right now I'm putting things in that I can recycle and just emptying out the chest, like I said. Now, one thing that's very cool that you can use the bike for, or any vehicle, you can use it as a buffer in order to move stuff out of storage and into another storage. So you can remove it out of storage, put it in the bike, and then go to the new storage and select your sand bike from the drop-down box and transfer it into the new place. In this case, I'm just taking it with me, but you could use it as a buffer if you wanted to. So right now we're going ahead and just kind of organizing things and getting ready to break everything down and take stuff with us. Okay, having enough ingots now, we'll now go ahead and put down the recycler, and then we'll get rid of the stuff that we don't want to take with us. This does include old gear, and I'm also going to include some of these higher tier items like the Mark II inventory and the booster for the sand bike. It's just not necessary at this point. We can take care of that later when we get there. Micro sandwich fabric. Man, I have trouble with that name today. So we want to get rid of all of our previous armor, like I said. This will just make things easier to transport. And we now have several broken down parts that we can now bring with us. So we'll get this in our inventory. We'll continue loading stuff on the bike, and we're going to start demolishing all of our equipment in here because we're not going to be needing it anymore after this in this location. All right, and we are now going to start deleting our machines. If they do have inventory in them, they'll drop a little box that you can decide what you want to bring with you. Now, we're not going to be able to bring all of it, but we're going to be able to bring everything except for one generator with some fuel cells in it and the structure of the base. Everything else is going to end up going with us. So I'll be right back once I get it finished out and cleaned up, ready to go. We now have all of our base packed up. I've maxed out my personal inventory and the inventory on the bike. So it's time to make the trip out of the South Hagga Basin into the other area. So go ahead and jump on the bike. Now, I am leaving my base active right now, and the reason I'm leaving this stuff is because my inventory is full. So I'm leaving about 70 batteries there, which I could come back and get if I want, but honestly, you don't need to. So we are ready to roll. Tell you what, let me do this before I do that. Go ahead and top my stuff off health-wise, just in case I get in a situation. All right, so what we're going to do, take off. We're going to go back to the rock outcropping where the tower is. and we are going to head north. So we need to find the tower location, which should be right over here. Now, note that I did leave the base active, so we haven't abandoned it yet, but it'll teach us how to abandon the base and build another one. And again, these bases aren't necessary because you won't be coming back here to live. Now, you probably do want to come back and get all the intel points, and maybe you want to get all the unique schematics if you have not found them yet. Which you can easily do that by traveling with the pilot back over here, or you can just drive over here. Okay, so what we're going to do is come up to the northern edge of this, and I'll show you on the map. So right here, if you follow this route, you'll be able to get there in the shortest distance. So basically, we're going to be going up to that mark right there. Now, right here is the Griffin trade. Right there. And we are in this little outcropping here. That's where we are. And we're about to cross. All right, so we are now headed out across the desert. I had a little bit of delay there because of a sandstorm, but we're headed for that Ironworks location right there, right in front of us. And we don't have long, so we do have a worm approaching. And it looks like we are going to make it. Right, so now we have crossed from the South Hagga Basin up to the Vermilious Gap. Now you're going to have both east and west. And I'm not going to get too far up into this because this is the start of a whole new part of the game. So now what you're going to want to do is research the advanced construction kit, which would be right here. Not the Leto replicator, but this thing down here. Advanced construction kit. And then you'll get yourself an advanced sub-fief that you can then put down for your new base, which is right there. All right, so we want to go ahead and do that. And then we want to go ahead and construct one of those. Now, very important. And notice it says construct an advanced sub-fief, and then it says open the map and abandon your base in Hagga Basin South. So what you would do to do that is open up your map, find your base down here, and then just hovering over it, you see it says abandon base. I would hit X, and then that base will now be public and degrade over. People will be able to come in and do whatever they want. So you'll be leaving it. So now, as far as where to build your base, well, that is a good question. I do recommend you go up here in this area up here at the top. So not that far up, probably right about here somewhere. So you want to make your way that way. Now what I would suggest that you do, since you do not know the area, is that you drive from rock face to rock face, and you just kind of slowly open it up. I suggest the first thing you do is go find a base location. So it's going to take a little bit of trip back and forth to go where I suggest, but the reason we suggest that is because it gives you a lot of the mid and later game building parts that you do not currently have access to. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly make our way that way. And I'll show you exactly how to get there from here. And like I said, it seems like a long ways at first, and you're going to be making some trips back and forth at the beginning, but that's fine because you're going to find that you're going to get all the materials that you need as time goes on. So just kind of slowly work your way up. You don't want to get yourself caught out here in the middle somewhere where a worm can get you. So we'll just take our time here a little bit, and we're going to get around here. Now the anvil, you see that right up there, that big square rock, that is called the Anvil Rock. There is an anvil trading post that's nearby there. Now, a lot of people do build on that side, and obviously you could build a temporary base right there. But as soon as possible, I would recommend that you head to this location we're going to. Now notice over here, you now have iron to mine. So as we were before, we were dealing with copper. Now we're dealing with iron. Now you notice here you have these red sections that are circled here. Those are mud. So you want to avoid those. If you get stuck in the mud, then you're going to have problems. There's a POI where you can get intel. We're going to keep on going. If you've never seen the map, this is why I'm doing this, just so you kind of get an idea of exactly where it is that you need to drive to. All right, so again, connecting the map. Now you notice right here on the very edge there is a green crash site is what that is. This is a PvP zone, so but don't let that alarm you because we're just going to be skirting around the outside of it. And what I usually do is head straight for it, and then I head for that rock on the left hand side. This is a little bit wider gap, but you don't want to stray to our left very far because you have that mud spot. Okay, so now from right here, what I would do, notice it says War of Assassins PvP. That's fine. I've never seen anybody right here. Can't say you won't, but you know, you're only going to be here for a second, so just go around the outside to be careful. And then once we get over here, we'll come to this spot right here. This is probably the part that makes me the most nervous on this whole track. Okay, so now we need to go from here over to here. Okay. There's no mud in the way, so we'll go ahead and start out across there. Now you're going to get a worm alert because it's probably the largest gap that you're going to cover. Alright, so now we've changed back to the PvE area. And what we want to do is we want to cross here. We want to go in. And we want to go to the outer edge of this. Now you can probably go the other way if you want, but I tend to like to go on the outer edge. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll follow this outer edge around. Like I said, it takes a minute to get here, and at first it's going to be inconvenient, but you're going to find over time that this is a better spot to get stuff. So we have a crashed ornithopter that we can actually loot stuff off of. And you have lots of iron up here. You have water. You have a couple of mining facilities where you can get advanced machinery parts. And then you also have a testing facility where you can get particle accelerator, I believe is what they're called. But you need a lot of those later, so, and you need a lot of the iron. Okay, so once we get up here, we're going to be on the northern edge of all this. There's one of the iron mines where you're going to be able to get advanced machinery by farming it. And anywhere along here would be a good spot for a base. Obviously, you've got some little camps. I think the other base that I'm playing with right now on the game is right here. It might be right back there on that other part, but notice you have the water, you have the iron, and you have the plants. So anywhere along here would be a good spot for a base. Okay, so now that we've built this, we want to go ahead, open the map, go down here to the beginning area and highlight this, X to abandon our camp. Okay? And we have confirmed that. Now we only have one base and it's up here straight up. So anyway, we crossed right here. That contract icon is basically where we went across. We went straight across to here. We followed the rock outcropping up like this, slowly opening up the area, crossed right here, and we went up right here to the northern edge of the western Vermilius Gap. And from here, you'll be able to get your carbon, and over here, you'll be able to get aluminum. You'll be able to get stuff for your cobalt paste over here, the crystals that you need for that, and a whole lot of other things that you'll be able to advance into over here, both in the Vermilius Gap and in the Hagga Basin. So, though it seems far away from over here was where the Anvil hub's going to be, it definitely is worth it to do this and just take a few trips at the beginning. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this particular series on how to get from the beginning area up to where you put your maybe your more permanent base location and expand and go further in the game, doing all the great things that you can do in Dune Awakening. So anyway, guys, that's going to bring us to the end. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, sub if you'd like, and let me know if you have any questions, comments. Make them constructive, and we'll do the best we can to help you out. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. Wheels out for now.